Hey guys, I'm here today to show you some of my tags that I've made. So once in a while I do tags as a way to refresh myself on some like basics on like composition, color, and the way that layout should be, to practice some of my layerings and stuff. So for this particular round of exercise, if you will, and I'll tell what are some of the things that I like and I didn't like. So the focus that I was looking on was more towards composition, layout, visual way, drawing the eye to specific places and stuff like that. So I really explored different placement of where the focal points were at, and for all of these, the background that I used were this. I think that this mixed media prints, if you will, from DCWV called The Colorful Life. And I can't recall the artist's name off the top of my head, Donna something, but she does this really great artworks, and then DCWV basically reproduce them as like background for like scrapbooking and stuff. But because of the nature of the background's already done, so I could just really focus on like constraining a visual weight and working around the different elements that the paper already had. So here we're going to look at 4 different tags I made. And I'll kind of briefly talk about what were some of the concepts that I had in my head and what went through my mind when I made these. So I'm going to also give a close-up because the camera really doesn't quite pick out all the parts of the tag all at one go. So this flowers I made it with like some punches, with a lot of sprays, and then made it really wet and then molded it and stuff to kind of give this almost like a gardenia sort of look, with some like black color stamens inside. And I just use a lot of like my leftovers from like different projects, and then just put it together to give something that's quite natural. So one of the concepts I really wanted to focus on was like, how do I utilize that 1/3, 2/3 sort of rule. So if you look at the tag, I took like, this is like 1/3 of it, and this is like the 2/3. So I really focused like a lot of my embellishments grounded on the bottom 1/3 of the tag, but at the same time I needed to demarcate where that 1/3 was going to be at. So it was important that I grounded my elements at that point. So that's what happened with some of these mediums that I used. So these 2 mediums were from Art and Anthology, and this is, I think it's a really cool, I'm not sure whether the camera's gonna be able to pick that up, but it's kind of this really cool sandy kind of like effect. It's called Lava, under the Stone Effects line, if you will, from the Art Anthology. And this is just like some of the dimensional paints. I think this is like Burgundy or something. Yep, so this is that. I'm quite proud of the flower that I made as well. Okay, so this is the second tag. Gonna try and with that as far as I can. You can kind of see how the whole tag looks like. I'm just gonna bring it forward closer to where everything is at. It says beautiful inside and out. And this is where I really spend the time to play with my new Tim Holtz die cuts. So this is the new dies from that Tim Holtz did together with Physics, and this is just really cool. The main thing that was focused on was to look at how I can balance out my elements based on visual weight. So this does the same 2/3, 1/3 thing, but I focus on the top 1/3 and a bit most of my layering clusters right there, and I needed to have like a way to fill up, in a sense, the white space that wasn't white. And in of itself, like this, the background does hold a bit of like a visual weight already. So what was really important was to highlight the parts that needed to pop out from the background. So like I did like white color gel pen around some of these words, and also this little red color stamp of like some gears was just really to balance out what was like on the top right here. So because if all I had was like without that stamp, And it looks great on its own, but the imbalance was going to draw too much to this area, and there was nothing to balance like the entire tag out. So it was kind of important that I put like a stamped image right here, but that didn't look out of place, but fit in really well with the background, so I really liked how it looks. Next one. So the next one really started from me wanting to do like a piece that was more centralized, even though like by the end of the layering it wasn't centralized because I had to balance out different elements that were all happening at the same time. But one of the things, a few principles that I've really used was one of the ways to kind of centralize your object is really through framing, and that is it really draws the eye towards the center of where you want the center to be. And I also did like some background that was like shiny, glittery, with some stupendous like fragments and embossing enamels, as you can see, to the background. And after that, it was I kind of needed to fill out like all the blank spaces. I mean, I could have done without like all this like embellishments and whatnot, but I thought that one of the troubles that I faced when I just had it right in the center, that the piece feel ungrounded. So I found it was important to like do this like a cutout that I stuck down, and some of this other like vintage ephemeras that help to balance out the entire look. But I needed to make sure that that this piece in the center was still the focal point. So one of the ways that you can achieve that is through something called triangulation. You see the butterflies here? They are kind of like a subtle color that kind of like fits in quite well with the background, but still distinct enough for like an eye to make out that these are indeed embellishments. And one of the ways I tried to do that was actually to put them on dimensionals. So these three butterflies triangulates like the eye to look within the triangle. So this is like the principle that I use for this tag. Finally, the last tag, I decided to do something a little bit more creative and did it on like a sideways sort of thing. So this is a I think in photography they have something similar, but what you do is that you kind of divide it into almost like two lines across here this way and two lines across here this way, and choose a corner in which the lines intersect to be the starting point of where you want your elements to start from. So there was a distinct line that happened from like the background that happened to be there, and I took some nice little twine and tied this thing to establish the other line. So this was the intersection in which the cluster was going to be at. How I made the camera thing, I'm not sure that the camera's going to pick that up. But I basically, it was like bandor that it's just a really thin chipboard, and I used bandor to paint the back. And then I used like some, what do I call those? Crackle paint, yes, and then I used black soot to cover over it. So like the crackle paint allowed some black paint to go inside, and I tell you the effect that comes out is really cool. Let me see whether the camera's gonna pick that up if I go in a little bit. Do you see that? This is just so cool. And because the black allows some of that black to seep through, you get this really cool vintage look on the camera. Some leafy like die cuts because I needed to break the shape, because it was very like even with like all these ephemeras that are stuck right behind and stuff like that, the shape was very squarish, so I need something to really break the shape out of it. So I had some like leaves which are stuck in like these random places. And finally, this is everyday. This is like also the new like die cuts that Tim Holtz did with Sizzix, and it looks really cool. Yep. So as you can see, like the color theme of each of the tags was similar. What I like a lot of some of the things I had like afterthoughts were like, I think the background was really tough to work with, only because I think I chose a background that was a lot darker. But at the same time, I think they gave like a very good starting point, so I didn't have to waste time to do too much to the background. One of the things I wish I kind of did was to probably apply some gesso over it to give it like a more whitewash effect, and that would have, like, I suppose, made the job of like drawing the attention to the clusters or elements of embellishments more easily. So thank you guys for watching. This is like probably the most technical video you ever hear me say. But I thought it is kind of fun and important that once in a while we revisit all this like basic things of like composition, and then play with them, and and whatever mistakes or whatever things you learn along the way, you put them into your toolbox, if you will, and so the next time that you approach these projects, when it's like a bigger project, all these techniques and principles are implicit within your skills. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.